For Coles and Woolworths, things are about to become much, much worse. A year ago, Woolworths was Australia's most trusted brand of any kind. It's now the fifth least trusted.
I think I'm done, guys.
It began first thing Monday. The Competition and Consumer Commission announced it was taking Coles and Woolworths to court over those promotions. Down, and prices dropped. What happened first were complaints, phone calls, the ACCC said, but after that it started looking at social media and it found hundreds of citizen journalists. One of them is called pricecheckguy.
Everyone knows this about Coles, but they have these sales cycles and they're really interesting. So here we have a special.
Now these people keep records of what the prices used to be. It's not easy because they're wiped from the Coles and Woolworths websites, but using things like the Internet Archive, bots that they'd created, they're able to go back. In a way, they're doing what people used to do. Obsessive people used to keep catalogues to compare. They're doing it electronically and they're publishing it. Now, the question is whether they were misleading. The Commission says, and it has more than 500 cases which it says lead to a pattern, that prices had been steady for 6 months or more, suddenly increased quite a lot for 2 or 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and then were down. Now they're arguing that that's not a real discount. The prices in every case, it said, were either higher than they'd been before for months or the same price as they'd been before. A typical example, and the Commission actually produced a graph of this, is Oreo biscuits. For a long time, they'd been $3.50. They were briefly increased to $5 and then discounted to $4.50. People were paying more after the discount than they'd been paying in the months leading up to the temporary price rise. Or so the ACCC says. This will need to be tested in court. The Commission says it's found 266 cases of this by Woolworths and 245 by Coles. Among the products it says Woolworths misleadingly discounted Arnott's Tim Tams, Energizer batteries, Kellogg's cereal, Nicorette patches, Stay Free pads. Among the products it says Coles misled customers about were Band-Aids, Coca-Cola, Colgate toothpaste, Palmolive shampoo, Sanitarium Weet-Bix. These are the kind of things that people need when times are tough, when prices are generally increasing. And the Commission's contention is that people had become conditioned to believe that these discounts were part of an everyday lower prices sort of approach. That is to say, people had been conditioned to believe these discounts were actually helping them. This is the least of Coles and Woolworths' problems. There's a major investigation, it's been going since February, with compulsory data gathering powers, able to hoover up almost anything. Special powers have been given to the Competition and Consumer Commission to do it, into the prices charged, the prices paid, and what consumers spend. Now, this data, massive data, is available to the retailers to use to interrogate us, if you like, to use to work out what we buy together, how much we'll tolerate an increase in price. One of the suggestions, as well as the information being made available to the Commission for its investigation, is that it all be put out there in public so that we can use this information, if you like, to interrogate the retailers. But there's much more. One suggestion is that retailers could be forced to divest, to sell some of their stores, to become smaller. The two between them account for 2/3 of all supermarket sales in Australia. Now, the government said it won't approve of divestment. The opposition, with National Party members and with the Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor, who did his thesis on mergers and divestments when he was at Oxford, is in favour of them. They're of the view they're a big stick, you don't want to pull it out all the time, but it's a useful threat to have. Coles and Woolworths could be forced to become so many percent smaller.